Hey everybody, it's Crazy Bean Carol. How you doing? Today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to solve a Rubik's clock. So the Rubik's clock is actually a WCA event, though it is very different compared to all the other events. A lot of people think that clock is stupid or is too weird to be in the WCA, but I personally think it's an interesting puzzle. The puzzle is really simple to solve, and the method I'm using actually doesn't require any algorithms. I honestly think the hardest part about solving a clock is understanding what the different knobs and pins do. So the first thing I'm going to do is explain the different parts of the clock and their functions. Now there are basically two things you can move on this clock, and they are these knobs, which are on every corner. Well, I mean, it's a circle, but you know what I mean. And then there are also these pins, which move up and down. The knobs basically just rotate the clock faces like this. If you turn the knob clockwise, the clock faces also move clockwise, and if you move the knobs counterclockwise, the clock faces will move counterclockwise. Now let's talk about the pins. If you're holding the clock with all of the pins up, and you rotate any one of the knobs, all of the clock faces will move. If you push one pin down, for example, then it basically locks in whatever corner it matches to. If I move any of the other knobs, all the clock faces will move except for this one. If I do turn the knob that corresponds with this pin, which is down, then this clock face will be the only one that moves. And that is the same for all four of these pins, so even if I push this one down, the same rule applies. If I turn the knob that corresponds with this pin, only this clock face will move. If I turn any of the other knobs, everything else will move, but this one. If I push down two pins that are adjacent to one another, like this, it will basically lock in these three clocks at the top. If I turn these two knobs, which do not correspond with these pins, then these six at the bottom will move. And if I turn these two knobs, which do correspond with the pins, the corners will move, because basically both of these corners are locked in. The edge between the two pins that are pushed down will not move no matter what. If you push down three pins and leave one up, if you turn the knob that corresponds with the singular pin that is up, it will move the four clocks around that pin. Alright, so now that we've discussed what the functions of the clock are, let's just start solving it. Basically, the goal of the first step is to make a sort of cross on the clock that is facing you. So if you remember, if you push two pins down, whichever edge matches up to those two pins will not move. So the first thing you want to do is push these two pins down like so, and then rotate this middle clock, which will work by rotating one of these two knobs, and basically match the hand of the clock so that it faces in the same direction as this hand. So we rotate any of these two knobs, and there we go. Now these two match. Now you can push these two back up, and we'll work on this edge. Again, you want to push the two pins that correspond with this edge so that this will not move, and you want to rotate any of these two knobs. So obviously right now this hand is facing the 1, so I just move these two, and now they match. Now push these two back up and repeat the same process for the bottom one. Push these two down, rotate one of these two so that these three clock hands match the bottom one. Like so. Now push these two back up, and then finally push these two pins down and rotate one of these two knobs so that all four of these clock hands matches this one. Now you can push these two pins back up, and I like to rotate the clock hand back to 12. So now you have your cross. Now you want to turn the clock over and repeat the same process, but on this side. So again, you push these two pins down, and then rotate one of these two knobs so that the middle clock matches this one. Now push these two back up, and then push these two down, and rotate any of these two knobs so that these two clock hands matches this one. Now you can push these two pins back up, push these two down, rotate these two, well, any of these two knobs so that now all of these match, push these two back up, and finally push these two down and rotate one of these two knobs so that all the clock hands in the edge pieces face the same direction. Now rotate them up to 12. And as you can see, now you have the cross on both faces. Now what we want to do is work on the corners. So I like to work on this corner first, so we push the pin down that corresponds with this clock face. And if you remember from when we talked about the functions of the clock, if you push this pin down, it locks in this clock face. And if you turn any of these, everything but this clock face will move. So now we want to do a similar process to when we matched up the edge pieces. And basically we want to rotate all of the edge pieces so that it matches up with this clock face. So we turn it down to 6 like this. Now push this pin back up because we have matched these pieces, and push this one down. And now we turn any one of these 3 knobs so that all of the clock faces we have worked on match this one. Now you can push it back up. Then push this one down, turn any of these 3 knobs so that all of these pieces match. Now you can push this back up and you will notice that we have one piece left to match. So you push the pin that corresponds with that clock face, and then turn any of these 3 knobs so that all of the clock hands match. Now push the pin back up and rotate all of the clock pins to 12. Now if you turn it around, you can see that the other side is also complete. So there you go, you have solved your Rubik's clock. Feel free to rewind any of the steps, because if you are new to the clock, it is a little bit difficult to grasp, but once you have figured it out, it's actually pretty simple. If you guys need any help with a specific step, or there's something you don't understand, please just ask in the comment section down below, and I will try my best to get back to you. But anyways, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and it helped you solve your Rubik's clock. If you'd make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time on Crazy Bean Carol. Bye!